Hello, Humus Heritage family. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're settling into one of those wonderful debates that really gets to the heart of building better soil molasses versus sugar. Now, if you've been following along with us, you know we're all about feeding the soil, not just the plant. But here's the thing, not all sweet stuff is created equal when it comes to nourishing that incredible underground ecosystem we depend on. So let's dive right in and discover which of these pantry staples truly deserves a place in your garden toolkit. Let's start with plain sugar, something we all have tucked away in the kitchen. When you add sugar to your soil, you're essentially offering up a straightforward blast of pure carbon energy to the microbial community living beneath your feet. Think of it as fast food for microbes, quick, simple, and immediately accessible. Those soil bacteria that have been lying dormant through the winter or sitting quietly in tired, compacted earth suddenly get a wake-up call. Sugar triggers what we might call a microbial boom, a rapid explosion of bacterial activity that can jumpstart biological processes in sluggish soil. This quick energy source is particularly valuable in early spring when you're eager to get your beds ready for planting. The soil might still be cool, the microbial life sluggish, and decomposition moving at a snail's pace. A sugar application at this point can accelerate the breakdown of organic matter and get those nutrient cycles spinning again. The beauty of sugar is its simplicity. It's a basic carbon source that feeds a broad spectrum of microorganisms without any complications. However, and this is crucial to understand, the effect is temporary. Sugar burns through the microbial community quickly, providing an intense but short-lived energy spike. It's like giving your garden a shot of espresso rather than a nourishing, sustained meal. The other consideration with sugar is that while it excites microbial activity, it doesn't bring anything else to the party. There are no minerals, no trace elements, no complex compounds to support diverse microbial populations over time. Sugar works best as a strategic tool for specific situations, perhaps when you need to break down tough organic matter rapidly in your compost pile, or when you want to revitalize a bed that's been sitting fallow and needs a quick biological boost before planting. It's not a soil-building amendment in the truest sense, but rather a targeted stimulant for microbial activity. Now let's talk about molasses, and this is where things get really interesting for those of us serious about building healthy, resilient soil. Molasses, particularly unsulfured blackstrap molasses, is essentially concentrated nutrition. When sugarcane or sugar beets are processed to extract white sugar, all those valuable minerals, vitamins, and complex compounds get left behind in this thick, dark syrup. What you're getting is not just sugar, though yes, there's plenty of that, but a whole package of essential trace minerals, including iron, calcium, magnesium, potassium, sulfur, and numerous other micronutrients that plants and soil microbes desperately need. These minerals make molasses a comprehensive soil tonic rather than just a microbial stimulant. The iron supports chlorophyll production and enzyme function. Calcium improves soil structure and helps prevent blossom end rot in tomatoes and peppers. Magnesium is central to photosynthesis. Potassium strengthens plant cell walls and improves disease resistance. When you feed molasses to your soil, you're not just feeding microbes, you're actually enriching your soil's mineral profile, making those nutrients available to plants through the incredible work of the soil food web. But here's what really sets molasses apart. The complex sugars it contains provide sustained energy rather than that quick spike you get with plain sugar. These more complex carbohydrates take longer for microorganisms to break down, which means they support microbial populations over weeks rather than days. This sustained feeding fosters not just bacterial growth, but also beneficial fungal populations, which are absolutely critical for building soil structure, improving water retention, and creating those nutrient highways that connect plant roots to the broader soil ecosystem. Fungi, in particular, thrive on more complex carbon sources, and they're the real soil builders in any healthy garden system. Molasses encourages diverse, balanced microbial communities rather than just a quick bacterial explosion. So, how do you decide between these two options? It really comes down to understanding what your soil needs right now and what your goals are for the season ahead. If you're working with a compost pile that's gone cold, or you've got a bed full of woody material that needs breaking down quickly, sugar might be your answer. That rapid microbial boost can heat up a compost pile dramatically and accelerate decomposition when you need it. Similarly, if you've got heavy clay soil that's been sitting compacted all winter and you want to jumpstart biological activity before you plant your spring crops, a sugar application can give you that initial burst of life. However, for most garden situations and especially for building long-term soil health, molasses is the superior choice. If your goal is to develop rich, friable soil with excellent structure, if you want to increase nutrient availability throughout the growing season, if you're looking to boost your plant's natural resilience against drought, disease, and pest pressure, then molasses is what you want. It's particularly valuable as a regular amendment during the growing season, supporting consistent microbial activity and gradually improving your soil's fertility profile. The trace minerals alone make it worth the slightly higher cost compared to plain sugar. Think about your soil assessment too. Has your garden been worked for years without much attention to building organic matter or replenishing minerals? Is your soil light and sandy, constantly hungry for nutrients? Or perhaps you've got that typical suburban soil that's been stripped of topsoil and needs everything. These are situations where molasses really shines because you're addressing multiple deficiencies at once. On the other hand, if you've already got fairly good soil and you just need an occasional microbial boost, sugar can serve that specific purpose economically. Now, let's get practical about application because honestly, using these amendments incorrectly can actually cause problems rather than solve them. The key principle with both sugar and molasses is dilution. You never want to apply these substances straight to your soil. Too much sugar or molasses can actually create anaerobic conditions, attract unwanted pests, or cause such an explosive microbial bloom that the microbes temporarily tie up nitrogen as they multiply. For molasses, the standard dilution ratio is 1 to 3 tablespoons per gallon of water. Start on the lighter end if this is your first time using it, and you can always increase the concentration once you see how your garden responds. For sugar, you're looking at roughly the same ratio, 1 to 2 tablespoons per gallon. Mix thoroughly until completely dissolved and apply this solution to your soil, preferably in the evening or on a cloudy day to avoid the solution sitting on leaves in hot sun, which could cause burning. You can apply these solutions with a watering can around the base of plants, thoroughly soaking the root zone where microbial activity is most concentrated. Some gardeners also use diluted molasses as a foliar spray, though this should be done even more diluted, and always in the evening. The sticky residue on leaves can attract aphids if applied too heavily, so a light touch is important. Another excellent method is incorporating these amendments into your compost tea if you're making aerated compost tea. They supercharge the microbial populations in the tea and provide that extra energy boost. Timing matters significantly with these applications. You want to apply when your soil is biologically active, which generally means when soil temperatures are consistently above 55 degrees Fahrenheit. In most climates, this means late spring through early fall. There's little point applying during winter dormancy or when the soil is cold and wet. The microbes aren't active enough to utilize the sugars effectively. Plan on applying every 2 to 4 weeks during the growing season if you're using molasses as a regular soil amendment. For sugar, use it more sparingly and strategically for those specific situations where you need a quick boost. Here's something absolutely essential to understand. Neither molasses nor sugar replaces the fundamentals of good soil management. They're tools in your toolbox, not complete solutions. You still need to be adding compost, aged manure, and other organic materials to build soil organic matter. You still need to maintain proper pH, ensure adequate drainage, practice crop rotation, and use cover crops. Molasses and sugar are amplifiers of biological activity, not substitutes for comprehensive organic matter management. What these amendments do brilliantly is accelerate and enhance the work that organic matter is already doing. When you add compost and then follow up with a molasses application, you're feeding the microbes that break down that compost and make its nutrients available to your plants. You're creating a synergistic effect that's greater than either amendment alone. This is why experienced gardeners often use molasses as part of their regular feeding schedule alongside their composting and mulching practices. Pay attention to how your garden responds over time. Are your plants showing more vigor? Is the soil becoming darker, more crumbly, easier to work? Are you noticing more earthworm activity? These are all signs that your biological amendments are working. Conversely, if you notice issues, like fungal problems on leaves, ant infestations, or plants that look overstimulated and weak, you might be applying too much or too frequently. Gardening is always a dialogue with your specific piece of earth, and these amendments require observation and adjustment based on what you're seeing. Looking ahead to building truly sustainable garden ecosystems, think of molasses in particular as an investment in your soil's future. Every application adds minerals that stay in your soil, building fertility over seasons and years. You're not just feeding this year's tomatoes. You're creating soil that will be richer, more alive, and more productive for decades to come. So, there you have it, friends, the complete story on molasses versus sugar for feeding your soil. If this guide has helped clarify things for you, please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss our weekly wisdom. Share this video with your gardening community, because everyone deserves to know how to build better soil from the ground up. Drop a comment below and let us know, are you team molasses, team sugar, or using both strategically? We love hearing about your experiences. Until next time, keep feeding that soil, and remember, healthy soil grows healthy plants, and healthy plants grow healthy people.